I'm Christina Trauthwein, VP of Content and Partnerships at Hotel Business, and I am here right now with Indy Adenaw, and he's the Senior Vice President and General Manager of upscale brands for Choice Hotels International. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to chat about Radisson and Blue and get some ideas and updates about the two. So why don't we start with Radisson and tell me a little bit about Choice's plans for Radisson and how it fits in today's brand landscape.
Sure. We've had Radisson for just over a year now, and it's been a period of actually really looking through the brand, understanding what it does best, and really trying to figure out how we can grow it within our system. So just over a year in, we have an exciting new brand identity. We have a new design approach. We have a new operating model that we're really ready to actually put forward now. And so Radisson is ready to break out.
That's very exciting. How are you positioning the brand and what value does it offer to owners?
Fundamentally, we see Radisson as being a conversion play in the full service market. We have worked hard to make sure the design is approachable and adaptable. We've also worked on food and beverage in the operating model. We've tried to make sure it's labor efficient, it's pragmatic, and it can work in a wide variety of cities and markets.
Okay, so what is your view of the full service market? And how does Choice plan to advance its place within that market?
Our personal view is that the full service market has become a little bit rigid. The brands that are in place now are trying to really fight for their own identity and a business model that works. Therein lies the opportunity for Radisson. We think Radisson can be adaptable, approach design in a pragmatic way for our owners and investors, offer services to guests that are much more flexible and light on labor, and really provide a much more forward-looking version of an experience in full service than one that exists today.
When you say rigid, can you expand on that a little bit more?
Yes, absolutely. For most full-service hotels, when you think about them, they must have a restaurant. They must have a range of services that, from an owner perspective, are not particularly efficient. From a customer perspective, they use them less and less and less.
Okay.
And while select service brands have become much more innovative and much more pragmatic in how they approach labor, full-service brands have been kind of lost in this space for some time. That is really our mandate for innovation for Radisson. We want Radisson to shake up the full-service space and give Choice an ability to actually really remake the sector.
Okay, great. So let's switch over to Blue. Tell me about the upscale and lifestyle segment and what's missing and how Choice plans to fill the void.
There's no shortage of lifestyle brands, but when you think of many of them, they're often not particularly approachable, they're not particularly warm, and they're not particularly easy to operate. For Blue, we think we can solve many of these considerations or challenges that most operators and owners have. So we've worked hard to make Blue a much more approachable, much more accessible, much more easier brand for consumers. From an operator and an owner perspective, we've also worked hard to try and figure out how are we approaching food and beverage? How are we approaching design? How are we approaching many of the other things that are seen as constraints in modern day lifestyle brands, and how we can do it in a way that is different and compelling for them?
They're constraints, but they're so important to the lifestyle brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We think things like food and beverage are not things you want to run away from.
No.
We think they are inherent to the success of brands in this tier, but you want to think of them in a way that makes sense for owners. I will just say that Choice listens in a way that most others do not to the challenges and constraints of our owners, and we're doing that as we remake these brands.
Which is going to play a little bit into the next question. You can expand a little bit. How can Choice make an impact on the upper upscale market? And what do you offer investors and owners in this area? What makes it really something that they should listen to when thinking about Choice?
We have really three core strengths when I think of Choice Hotels. First, as a company, we are very owner-friendly and very responsive to the needs of our owners. Secondly, we've always been very data and analytically oriented. And thirdly, we've always been a growth company, as one of the largest hotel companies in the world. And so we are taking these three strengths and trying to apply them to the upscale and above market. We think each one of those strengths can actually really help us drive and influence a compelling new chapter growth for both Blue and Radisson.
It's been great talking to you, Indy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.